Welcome to Glorious Botafogo, the only channel on the internet that brings you Alvinegro news in English. Botafogo beat Bangu today. The match just ended at the Newton Santos Stadium. The goals were scored by Junior Santos and Jefinho at the added time at the end of the second half. In my opinion, some of the highlights of the match was the initial pressure that Botafogo showed at the beginning of the first half. And just to remind you that the team started with the reserves. So none of these starters, I think for the exception of Junior Santos, played in this match. Starters compared to the first match against Madureira. So the initial pressure was very, very good. It was very interesting to see the initial offensive transition of the team. So much so that with the pass from Segovinha sent it to Marçal. Marçal crossed it in. Cauê tried to shoot it, and it kind of reflected off his foot, went to Junior Santos, as Junior Santos only had the trouble of taking a shot and scoring the goal. Segovinha sends it to Marçal. Marçal sends it in. Here, Botafogo goes Junior Santos! I really liked some individual performances by certain key players today. Although Igor Gabriel wasn't really, it wasn't a very demanding match from him. He kept a clean sheet, so that's a point there. I thought that Bastos had a really good game. Bastos showed that he's much more in playing form and in shape and much more accustomed to his teammates. I think that was very good. Very solid match from Bastos. I liked Jefferson Maciel. Jefferson Maciel was, nothing, didn't compromise. Newton didn't compromise. Junior Santos, in my opinion, was the man of the match. He was the best player of today's match. Now, some performances that I thought were so-so. Players that showed potential, but are not quite there yet. One of them is Cauê. Cauê, I thought, and I may get some heat from this because I already got some heat from this on Twitter, but I didn't think, I saw people saying, Cauê had a great match, superb performance, outstanding performance by Cauê, and I honestly, I did not think so. I thought Cauê had a very average performance, and honestly, if the play where Junior Santos would have gotten the assist from Cauê, that was a bizarre miss by Cauê. I mean, no goalkeeper. He had the ball to himself. He could have just sent it in and scored the goal. Yes, he would have been offsides, but what if he wasn't offsides? That would have been a bizarre miss. That's a huge mistake. So, yes, even though it wasn't offsides, I still count that as an opportunity that you can't not miss. You can't not miss if you're trying to earn a spot in a competitive 24, 27-man squad that, you're going to be looked at to start these games, especially if you're trying to make it into the starting team. You can't miss that. I thought he was very nervous. He had some really poor mistakes with passing and just understanding some aspects of the game that I did not think that he had a great match. That is my opinion. And you can put whatever you want in the comments. That is my opinion. I thought Cauê was below average today. I know he's a great player. He's got a lot of potential. I know that. But just today, that is my opinion. Segovinha, although he had that pre-assist to Marçal that crossed it in, he found the play. And he had some good balls here and there and some interesting dribbling moments. But again, in front of goal, that's a goal you cannot miss. I cannot miss. So some positives from Segovinha, but that chance there, I thought, was a big dent in his performance today. Diego Hernandes had an okay match. He got, he recovered a few balls, and you could see that he was trying to mark, the Bangu's defense, an offensive pressure, but he did not show the performance that I think we expected from him against a much weaker Bangu side. So a little disappointing from Diego Hernandez. Marçal, in my opinion, had a very weak defensive performance. Every time Bangu had a counterattack, it was always behind Marçal's back. I think he's having a really hard time being a left wing back, right? He's having to be that guy that goes up and down that line instead of just staying put defensively because he had Maciel there covering his back. But he was not covering Maciel's back. It was Maciel covering for him the entire game. It was always behind Marçal's back. So I thought that was pretty weak performance by Marçal today. Marlon Freitas had a so-so game. The rest of the team was so-so. The match dragged on at times. It felt like I was getting bored watching the match, especially on the second half. And nothing really happened until Jafinho scored that goal in the 90th plus minute of the second half. Other than that, very boring, very dragged on second half there by Botafogo. But what counts is we got the victory. We got the 3 points, staying up on the table, which is important, especially in the beginning. It's a win with the reserves. And a lot of these players are in the bench. Some of them don't even make it outside the bench. Matheus Nascimento, for example, he was the bench in the start of the match, for Janderson, which I thought Janderson had an okay performance too. Very important in the aspect of receiving the ball, keeping possession of it, and trying to, play it to the left. Kind of like what Chiquinho does, but in a much lower scale. I think Janderson has... he has a hard time figuring out what to do with the ball and making that choice quickly. There's a couple of times where I thought, pass the ball, and he took 4, 5, 6 touches more and then ended up having to turn around and play it out to the side, where he could have either just played the ball or took the shot on goal. Matheus Nascimento, when he came on, you could see that he has a little bit faster thinking with the ball. When he's got the ball, you can see that he's already thinking ahead of the play, what to do with the ball next. Meanwhile, Janderson, he gets the ball, he turns around, and then his brain starts working, figuring out what to go and what to do next. And Nascimento, at least from today, I could tell that it's a little bit different. Not to say that they're bad players. I think Janderson has room to improve. I don't think he's the immediate substitute for Chiquinho, so I'm going to keep on that same tune. I'm going to sound like a song on shuffle here, but we need a striker to come and be Chiquinho's shadow. Janderson is not it, and Matheus Nascimento is not it. Botafogo's next match is this coming Wednesday against Boa Vista at 6:30 U.S. Central Time. So that means it is 9:30 Brazil time. So it's in the early hours in the morning for UK. I think it's like 12:30 a.m. and 1:30 in the UK, and 1:30 a.m. for Belgium and France. If you're Molenbeek and Leoni fans wanting to watch a Botafogo match, is going to be late for you. But yeah, 6:30 p.m. US time, 9:30 Brazil time. I will be doing a post-match video just like this, talking about the match, and it's going to be an away match for Botafogo, the first one of the season. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments who you thought was the best player, the worst player of today's match, what you thought about Thiago Nunes' strategy overall, and what your hopes are for the match against Boa Vista. See you then.